Hey everyone, it is Dani and welcome to this update video this evening. I hope you've been enjoying your Sunday thus far, and so we're going to be taking a look at what is going on out there in the Atlantic. Now 95L is going to be the main focus of this video, but we also want to briefly talk about other systems. And so before I go into details, please do subscribe if you haven't yet done so and tap the bell so that you never miss an important update. Alright, now we're going to start out looking at the satellite imagery of the Caribbean. There was some activity this afternoon across some areas, and here we can see that there are a lot of thunderstorms developing across parts of Cuba, going to the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Hispaniola, even some spots in Puerto Rico and sections of Central and Northern South America. There is some activity developing. So there are two tropical waves moving through, and that is helping to enhance all the moisture, and then that daytime heating as well contributing to that instability, and then eventually we have these thunderstorms developing. However, across most of the Lesser Antilles, it's been a rather hot and sunny day. Same story for the Virgin Islands. Maybe some occasional clouds or even a passing shower for the ABC Islands, especially Aruba. But for the most part, there hasn't really been anything much happening this evening. And in the vicinity of the Lesser Antilles, there is a plume of dry air, so that could be helping to suppress those showers and thunderstorms. Hence, we don't see anything much really happening in the area, which is quite unfortunate since it has been rather hot. Much not happening across the Bahamas either. Maybe headed toward the Turks and Caicos Islands, passing showers, but nothing much is happening at the moment. And then as we take a look at this white satellite imagery, there you can see whatever is left of Italia and Gert and Katia as well. So those are dissipating cyclones out there. Much shouldn't become of them. But now we want to go ahead and move on to what the National Hurricane Center has. So we have two areas to watch for development. A recent one highlighted just off the coast of Africa, and so there's a 30% chance that we could see some development take place of a tropical wave that will move off. And this isn't something new or surprising because models have been showing a second system developing, but one that is going to remain out to sea, not being a bother for anyone. So hopefully that's going to be the case. But should it be sustaining a lot of thunderstorms, it could bring some increased rainfall and inclement weather to the Cabo Verde Islands as it makes its way through the area. So let's see what's going to happen with that one. But the main concern is Invest 95L. So it is an Invest, which is an area of investigation that is being closely monitored or watched for development. And so we're going to be looking at the latest that models have to show for it. So as of the 2 p.m. update, the National Hurricane Center designates a 90% chance of seeing development. That is an increase from this morning, and it has a medium 50% chance of formation during the next 2 days. So it is likely that by the middle of the week, by around Wednesday, we could see a tropical depression at least coming from this. Wouldn't be surprised if it manages to do so sooner, because I mean, we've seen these storms rapidly develop a lot sooner than initially expected, but it seems as though this one really wants to grab the opportunity it has to get itself together, become a depression named Storm, and the next name to be used is Lee. Eventually we could see a hurricane or even a major hurricane coming from this. And if you're curious, a major hurricane is basically category 3, 4, or 5. So any tropical cyclone or hurricane that falls within that category is a major hurricane. And so guys, now we want to go ahead and take a look at the latest that models have to show. But based on what we're seeing here, there is still that chance of parts of the northeastern Caribbean, especially the Leeward Islands, being impacted by the system. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest model track guidance. And here we're seeing them being tightly packed. They're not all over the place, which suggests some sort of consistency with the expected track. A northwest or like track expected of this. Some of these tracks want to take the system closer to the Caribbean than others, but as I pointed out in this morning's update, this is to track the center, not the size. So if this becomes something very massive out there, even though the center is offshore, it could still bring impacts, and dangerous impacts, especially in terms of the heavy rainfall, which can trigger flooding, mudslides, landslides. So the necessary precautions should be taken even if the system is going to be just offshore. But there is still some uncertainty that is lingering around because we still don't know exactly what this is going to be doing. So it's likely that we're going to be seeing some shifts in the expected track of it as time goes by. But it's a good sign that we're seeing these models be entirely packed, and these tracks coming from the different models being so close, because they represent that we have pretty good consistency on what is expected for right now. But we'll see. Now, in regards to the intensity, we have that green area representing tropical storm force winds, the yellow area for Cat 1 hurricane, orange for Cat 2, red for Cat 3, purple for Cat 4, and more of that lilac shade for Cat 5. There you have some of these models wanting to suggest a Cat 5 hurricane. And the Euro, the run from the Euro has been very consistent on a major hurricane, at one point showing a pressure of 926 millibars. By the way, if you were hearing some rumbling just now, that is thunder, so there's a thunderstorm currently happening in my area. But the Euro model was suggesting a pressure that would be that of a Cat 5 hurricane, and I don't doubt that happening just because of how conducive the environment is, especially in regards to the very warm, anomalously warm temperatures out there. But most of these models expect that this will become a named storm and a hurricane, but we see fewer and fewer members as we head up the scale in terms of Cat 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Do I think this will be a major hurricane? Yes, I do believe so, but intensification will all be dependent on how conducive the environment is for that to take place. And as we look at the temperature map, this isn't the only factor, but this is the significant one here that is kind of fueling weather events worldwide. I mean, these above average temperatures are fueling our storm systems and causing them to be a lot more intense. Not only hurricanes, but we're focusing on 95L here. So we can see that there are 30 degrees Celsius isotherms seen all around on this map here, suggesting those very warm waters. So this is going to be playing a critical role in its intensification process. This is the main ingredient here. Of course, with those upper level winds not being too intense, we will have a lot more intensification, because what happens is when the upper level winds are strong, they basically rip the system apart by disrupting the thunderstorms, preventing them from growing and intensifying. So when the upper level winds are not too bothersome for the system, we have some more symmetry, we have more intensification taking place. Another factor is the dry air, and there isn't a whole lot of dry air in the vicinity of the disturbance right now, so it should be in a pretty conducive environment to allow for that intensification to happen. And I'm not really questioning intensification, but whether it will be a threat to land or not, that remains a question out there. It could shift a bit more south, it can shift a bit more north. Of course, the more ideal scenario would be it's not actually making landfall anywhere and moving away, not bringing any significant impacts, but we know that there is a chance that there could be impacts in the northeastern islands, and that is why I'm urging persons there to be on watch. I'm not saying that, okay, you should prepare for a major hurricane right now. It's good to have preparations in place regardless. We're in September, we're in the peak month, and we're bound to see a lot more activity coming on as we head into the next couple of weeks. So it is good to have your preparations in place, don't get me wrong, but I'm not saying that there will be a major hurricane impacting you as we head to this weekend. We don't know exactly what it's going to do, so over the next couple of days we should see a better picture of what is ahead, and I will continue to keep you guys posted. So that is what I wanted to share with you in this update, and I trust and hope that you found it to be quite informative. But if you have any questions, please do leave them down in the comments. I'll respond to you once I get the chance to do so, and as always, remember to be weatherwise.